Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Being Human Now show. I'm your host, Jennifer Locksmith, and today we have Ginger Lockwood back with us. Ginger, welcome back. There are going to be a lot of people that are happy to see you here because we had a lot of requests.
Wonderful. It's good
Yeah.
to be back again.
Yes, yes. So, Ginger, if you don't already know, is a psychic with many abilities. She is a shamanic practitioner and a friend and experiencer of the Bigfoot and the Fae. And she has many fascinating stories and much knowledge to share. So I am so grateful to have her back with us because she's important, especially right now because the truths are coming out and people are looking for clarity. So thank you. Um, is there anything else you'd like people to know about you before we start that I didn't mention?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Well, you live down south. We won't say where,
Yes.
but so you have a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
experiences down south. So
Right.
that's,
Right.
yeah.
I don't mind saying the
Okay.
state I'm
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Georgia is where I
Yeah.
live right now.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I hope to get down and visit soon.
That
Um,
would be great.
yeah, that would be this summer would be amazing. So I mean, you were just on a week ago, and I don't
Hmm.
remember if I asked you this question last time, but I feel like you have so much going on. You probably have something to say. Do you have any recent experiences to share with us before we get into all of your past experiences and stories?
Well, last month I asked the Biggies if they were still coming by just telepathically.
Hmm.
And 2 days later, my husband and I were working in the front yard, doing cleanup. And he noticed this huge ground stick, a really big fat one in the front yard, about 2 inches deep. And, that was the first structure that the Bigfoot taught me to make, that they
Yeah.
make. And
Yes.
so that's kind of like my thing. When I go around, they leave me ground sticks. So that was my sign that they're still coming by. With all the wild cats we're taking care of right now,
Yeah.
when I hear sounds in the yard, I'm not sure if it's bipedal walking or the cats walking around. Like last night, I heard a sound, and I thought, well, who knows what that is right now? So,
Hmm.
you know, um, so I kind of needed a sign from the Bigfoot. But the other encounter we had this year is my husband and I went walking in a wildlife refuge campground place that a bunch of us, people, Arla and a bunch of us have had tons of encounters at. And I actually learned about it through Arla. She was coming here to Georgia once a year to go camping with a group
Hmm.
at this one campground. And it's only 45 minutes away from where we live. And we didn't know about it until then. And that was the first Bigfoot group I got in. I didn't even know Bigfoot groups existed online when we were having all that activity. And what happened is my husband and I went to this new Bigfoot museum that opened up in Georgia. And
Yeah.
my husband wanted to talk to somebody about the Bigfoot. And we started showing him pictures of all the structures in our yard, and some prints we'd found and stuff. And so they made a phone call to Arla, and she didn't answer the phone. They made another phone call to a friend named Gail, that's a friend of both of ours. And I talked to Gail a bunch, and we'd both be having encounters at the same time. Somebody's mowing around, so you have to excuse the noise. But in fact, I was going to sit out by my woods so you guys could see there for the
Oh.
podcast, but we mowers today. So um, Gail and I were talking, and then she got me in with Arla's group. So that was the first Bigfoot group I was in, the group that came here to Georgia all the time.
Hmm.
And so it kind of kept me in a protected place. I wasn't in all those groups with all the drama and all the fear stories.
Yeah.
And I was very naive when the Bigfoot came. I didn't know about fear stories. So I think that's one reason I didn't have the fear that other
Yeah.
people have.
Yeah.
And so I've always known to keep myself in that place, shielded. And I don't watch Bigfoot shows to this day
Hmm.
because I know there's going to be a bunch of scary stories. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to stand in front of a Bigfoot and not have fear.
Yes.
So I keep myself in a protected place. I was talking about this with Arla and Kashima the other day, and I won't watch UFO shows for the same reason,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
unless I know it's from someone like you that will have things, in a good place or something. But
Yeah.
um, otherwise, I just stay away because I don't need that fear when I'm dealing with them.
I hear
But
you.
so earlier this year, Paul and I were at that campground, and we were walking down a trail. It's full of trails all through the woods, and they just bought 200 more acres. And on nothing was happening much. And on the way out, all of a sudden, I hear really loud bipedal walking coming down the hill to the left of us.
Hmm.
And so I stopped because it was coming right towards us,
Oh, yeah.
and I stopped dead in my tracks, and then it walked. You could hear it walk right in front of me on the trail in front of me, and Paul was right behind me,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm stopping to see what it does. Now I can't see it. Plus, we walk in the pitch dark at night. We try not to use flashlights. It's just something we do because we believe it helps us have more encounters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so actually though, you know what? I did have a flashlight this night and I was shining it on the sound, which I've never done before. I would never shine a light, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't some kind of animal coming at us. Now I do
Yeah.
remember shining a light this night, and I was shining it right on the loud bipedal steps and where it should be, and we couldn't see anything at all. So it was cloaked, and then it stopped about 4 feet in front of Paul and I, right
Mm-hmm.
off the trail.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was clear as day. You could hear my husband doesn't even have good hearing, and he could hear it. And Paul said, "Is there Bigfoot standing right in front of us?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And it could be a little bit
Yeah.
unnerving. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Just another night though with you guys walking around.
yeah. And so I'm still shining a light on it, and now I'm starting to scry because I want to see if I can see it if I scried.
What's that?
So where you stare at something, you start seeing things.
Okay.
Like you can
Okay.
scry in a mirror if you want to see your
Yes.
ancestors or your aura or something. So I had a class that taught me scrying before.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I started to scry and at his feet, where his feet should be, so I could start seeing it. And all of a sudden it jumped back about 6 to 8 feet. I mean, it was a far jump.
Oh my
So, I
gosh.
mean, that was must have been decent sized Bigfoot to jump that far. But, you know, it seemed to me that it knew I was scrying,
Yeah.
and it knew that I
And I knew
may
you'd be
be
good
able to
at
see it.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it jumped back immediately. And we just, thank you for coming by. And we walked down the trail and walked the rest of the way out. That was our last kind of encounter with the Bigfoot itself. That was
Oh,
earlier
cool.
this year. We usually go hiking there and other places in the winter, spring, and fall,
Okay. Yeah.
because it's better weather and we don't sweat to death. Plus, the ticks are out horribly in the
Oh
summer.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about that in the spring, fall, winter. So, usually every year we have an encounter there when we go
Yeah. Do you go to the
hiking there.
same places or do you
Yeah,
try
yeah,
different
we
places?
go there a lot because we've had a ton of activity. I mean, I don't even know how many encounters I've had at that place. The first night Paul and I were there, we'd walk down a trail. We were coming back to our car, nothing had happened. And all of a sudden, we're crossing the road and we see all these lights kind of waving, kind of back and forth like this.
Uh-huh.
And Paul said, "What are those lights? Are those Boy Scouts with flashlights?" And I'm looking at them, they're kind of like waving back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And like how the Bigfoot sway.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they disappear. And right in front of us, about 15 feet in front of us, we see two Bigfoot,
Oh
and
my
one is
goodness.
standing up and one is on the ground. How they can get on all fours on the ground, like in that
Yes.
spider crawl position.
Yes. I'm just gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they call him Nightcrawler because a bunch of people have had encounters with that one there, and they've all named him Nightcrawler. And so we got to meet Nightcrawler the first night we were there. He's in people's Bigfoot books, and he was on the ground, and he looked at us with this beautiful blue eye shine that changed to green,
Oh wow.
and right in front of our eyes. And then the one standing up must have been a juvenile because it only looked about 5 feet, and it
Hmm.
had white eye shine. And that
Oh,
was our first night there. So it's just been a very active place. I mean, we don't go a year without having an encounter there, but we do go other places. There's another place
yeah.
I found, and I think the Bigfoot brought me there.
Hmm.
I don't know if I told you about this. I call it Hootie's place. I think I did, with the Bigfoot
Where
that
he
hooted at
hooted
me.
at you.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
we talked about that last time.
I found
Um,
that because the Bigfoot drew me there. I accidentally turned
yes.
onto that street and I didn't know there was a big park at the end with a bunch of hiking trails. and I just went to the end of the street. And so, yeah,
Did
we have
we?
learned more places since. I go there too, and there's a couple other places we go around here too. Sam told us about a place, one of his places nearby.
Yeah, you had experiences with him. Yeah.
Yeah, the first night I went there, um, we had a Bigfoot walking right next to me
Oh
with
my
his eye
goodness.
shine on. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
white eye shine, and it was just walking right next to me as we walked down the trail.
Did you say, were you alone or were you with other
Now, I
people?
was with Paul that time.
Okay.
Did I tell you about the experience I had with Sam?
Not yet, but I want to go back real quick to something before we lose. I just
Okay,
want to touch
okay.
on the cats first, and then we will.
Yeah,
I want to go back to that
of
story.
cats.
I don't know if I had Christina Zucchi on, just touching on your fear that you were not in fear, and I find that very
Okay.
interesting. Because she was saying how she had an encounter. She had an encounter with, like, she stumbled across like Fae, and this is her story. I'm going to try to get it right. But she told it during her episode, and she was saying how I guess she saw a Fae-like being, and it said
Okay.
it said something like to the others, it's okay. She doesn't have. I think it was either the disease or the virus, and what they
Huh,
meant was fear. It's okay.
huh,
She doesn't have fear.
huh.
And I just think that's interesting that maybe the people that have these experiences, it's because they don't have the fear. Like you didn't have the fear.
I didn't
And
have the fear when the
yeah,
first one was standing in front of us this year.
yeah,
I don't have the fear.
yeah.
No.
And the other thing is, I was listening to Hair in the Hawthorne, and she had two women on, kind of subbing in for her. And it's kind of interesting about the cats because they were talking about how apparently there's this theory that cats are cloaked fairies. And that when we're
Hmm.
not around, they drop their cat form, some of them, and they're actually fairies. So I think it's very fitting that you have all these cats hanging out around your house and fairies, or maybe they're
Yeah.
both. But
Well,
anyway,
everybody thinks the cats are very closely connected to the fairy world. There's all kinds of tales of that. So,
yeah.
and that's interesting about the disease because I don't know if you knew Thom Cantrall, but he used to say on sometimes I'd be on a podcast with him at the same time. And he used to say, Ginger's never came to me with any Bigfoot questions. And I said, you're wrong. I used to come to you with one question. I used to ask you, why am I not afraid?
Mm,
Because I didn't understand. Because everybody seemed like they were afraid standing in front of the Bigfoot and fairies and stuff. And I just never had any fear. And I just couldn't understand why. So that theory about the disease could be
yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, did he answer that question for you, or when you would
He
ask him?
said, well, the first two times he did not. I don't know if he
Yeah.
knew, but the third time I asked him because I kept asking him because I just couldn't understand. And
Yeah.
and he said they can't put out an energy to make you not be afraid. So I thought, oh, maybe that's it. But
Yeah.
I don't think they're always doing that. I think they have maybe sometimes put out some calming energy, you know. But so I wonder that there is some kind of disease, the fairies.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring that up and see what you thought about it and just throw it out there. Yeah. Because I think it's
Yeah,
important we make
I'm
these
open to that.
connections, you know?
I am
Yeah.
open to that.
Um,
And a lot, how a lot of people think they are Star Nation, and absolutely, I think a lot of people are Star Nation that are here and stuff. Where everybody thinks I'm an elemental, like a Earth Angel fairy kind of thing. So
mhm.
maybe that's one thing that's attracting the cats and
Yeah.
the fairies to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think that too, and they probably feel safe with you.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, you had, sorry, getting back, I just had to bring those two things up.
No,
But
it's okay. We
you,
want to answer people's
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
But you had some amazing experiences with Sam Chandler, who's also a past guest, a fellow experiencer, and a friend of ours. So if
Uh,
you would you mind telling that story? Because that's you guys had an amazing encounter.
sure, sure. Well, this we were on the same trail that I just told you about where we saw the cloaked one this year.
Hmm.
Now, this was probably about 8 years ago with Sam though. And a guy named Keith Bearden and my husband. And we were all sitting on the trail, just sitting there hanging out, because sometimes that's the best way to squat. You just sit there, not even move. And we start seeing a bunch of eye shine all over the place. It looked like juvenile eye shine to me,
Hmm.
just because I had some experience seeing eye shine in my yard. I've noticed sometimes the juveniles have smaller eye shine. But I know they can increase though width and all too. So,
Okay.
don't go by that theory. It's just something
Yeah.
made me think they were juveniles.
Well, you're also
And
psychic, so
right. So I may
yeah.
have just been picking up right that they
Yeah.
and so they I just walked down the trail, maybe because I picked up on something. I just got up and I walked down the trail alone just a little bit. And all of a sudden, I see this Bigfoot and he's got huge white eye shine. The biggest I've ever seen in my life. Sam says he still has never seen that big eye shine to this day.
How big was
And
it?
this was 8 years ago. Um, okay, here's my eye.
Uh-huh.
So, usually the eye shine would be about that shape around on it.
Uh-huh.
It was about that big coming out of one eye.
Oh my goodness.
And it was bright white as you could possibly get. It wasn't a dim light or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a star white.
Mm-hmm.
And the other eye had eye shine coming out of it, but it was only the shape of a pupil. I mean, the shape of your eye,
Oh my
like that.
goodness.
And
Yeah.
the whole eye was pure white glowing inside. You couldn't see pupils or anything. It was just white light,
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
sparkling. And then here was this big round one coming out of this
Yes.
eye. And the eye shine was so bright that it was lighting up its facial features, son. And it would turn sometimes and look at the group of people, that I was sitting with. And when it did, I could see more of its facial features. So I went back to the group and I said, "You guys need to come see this." And
Yeah.
there's a Bigfoot down here. And they thought they were seeing the Bigfoot because we were seeing Bigfoot. It just was a different one that I was seeing. And so nobody came. So I went back because I wanted to experience it.
Yeah, you were seeing the
And so
grand
I went,
finale.
yeah, right. So I went back and now it's doing something different with its eyes when it's taking that big light and bringing it all the way into its eye, just the shape of its eye, and then it bring it back out real big and round to me,
Oh my
and then it bring it
gosh.
in back out. It was strobe lighting it.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
totally making a strobe light effect. And I never seen them do that. And
Yeah.
and so I started playing around, seeing if I could do it back. And I was like, trying to get eye shine to come out of my eyes. And
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there like to the big one trying to do it back because I wasn't having any fear, so I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
playing around with it,
Yeah.
and and it seemed to love it. It kept doing it back to me.
Gosh, I love it.
That's how I interact with the Bigfoot. I'm kind of playful with them, but
Yeah.
so um, I went back down the trail. I'm like, you guys really should see this.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, we see him, Ginger. And I'm like, well, no, no. So anyways, I went back down because once again, I couldn't get anybody to believe me that I was seeing a different Bigfoot than them. So I went back down to experience the Bigfoot some more, and I go back and I'm standing in front of him and he's doing this with his eyes again. And then Sam walks down the trail and
Yeah.
he gets right up against the right side of me because how sometimes you gotta be right in someone's line of sight to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets us against the right side of me and goes, "Wow!" And his mouth dropped because it was doing that huge strobe light thing,
Yeah.
and the eye shine was out real big, and like to this day, we both have never seen anything like that before,
Yeah.
and we were watching it turn and look at Keith and Paul, and when it did, we could see its other eye good and its facial features and stuff. And then it would turn back and look at us again. And then we could see when its eye would go in, I could see it had a white light connecting the two eyes, just a
Mm-hmm.
band of white light. Kind of like if you had sunglasses on, that band that goes in between and connects
Mm-hmm.
the lens.
Yeah.
This part, it was just pure white, sparkly light connecting both the
Oh my
eyes.
gosh.
And around this eye that was just pure white inside there, it had a white ring around it, like a spectacle, but it was just pure
Yeah.
white light.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer it stood in front of me, we could start seeing all these different things. And so then Sam and I were sitting there enjoying it, because it just kept staying there. And every time I'd leave and come back, it was still there,
Yeah.
And so Sam and I were enjoying it. And then Paul comes down the trail, and he gets on the left side of me and he goes, wow.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
then we stand there enjoying it some. And finally, it turns around and starts to leave.
Hmm.
And Sam was sad it was leaving because they hadn't been there as long as me to enjoy it. And so he was sad it was leaving already. And when it turned, because the eye shine was so huge, you could see it lighting up all the bushes and trees. Its eye shine was working like a flashlight
Yeah, that
for
was my
it.
question. Do you think that's what it was using it for?
I think in our case they were giving us a show,
Yeah.
but I think at times, absolutely, now that I've seen that happen, I'm like, oh, they must use eye shine sometimes in the woods because it's a flashlight,
Yeah. Yep.
you know?
Yeah. One eye to shine, one eye to
And
see. What?
and people who don't know about eye shine would just think it's a headlight, a car, somebody walking around with a flashlight,
Yeah.
or something like that. And so then I mean, it was lighting up everything. You could totally be able to see your path and where you were going. And so then Sam said, oh no, it's leaving. And he was sad. And I felt bad for Sam. So I just muttered under my breath real quietly, oh, please don't leave, just even quieter than that. And it whipped around and it started flashing its lights, strobing it real huge at us again.
Oh.
And Sam goes, it hurt you, and it turned around.
Yeah.
And so we enjoyed it again for a while, and then it finally turned around again and moved on. But so
What an awesome gift and story. That is just amazing.
that was
What
a great encounter.
what do
Yeah.
you think the eye shine is?
Um, I think it's energy they're pulling up from inside them. They're just masters with energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
manipulate energy when I do telekinesis, but
Yeah.
they're able to pull light from their body,
Yeah. And change the
pure light,
color.
and change the
Yeah.
color. And
Yeah.
they say the different colors mean different things. The first Bigfoot I saw had green eye shine, and that really threw me off because I couldn't find anybody who saw green eye shine.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a while, it was making me wonder if I was even dealing with the Bigfoot. And
Yeah.
then I finally found someone who saw the green, and Arla knew about the green. And she said green means curiosity. They're curious about you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like I said, the first time I saw Nightcrawler, he
Mm-hmm.
went from blue to green in front of me. So
Yep.
green was just a color I was seeing a lot. They were
Yeah.
curious about me.
Yes. Yes.
And
Oh my
they were
goodness.
probably reading me. Yeah. Okay, she's a sidekick. We're gonna have fun with this one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so cool that the colors have meanings.
Yeah.
What does
And the
red mean?
blues, the
Oh,
blue is
blue.
supposed to mean love. Now, some
Okay.
people believe the red mean they're angry, but I don't know. I kind of think of the red as the root chakra,
Mm-hmm.
the grounded, more stable kind of place.
Yeah.
And then I've only seen the red once in our backyard when Paul's father was here looking for eye shine in the backyard. I saw some red that time,
Yeah.
and we didn't have a problem, but
Yeah. Right.
so
Yeah, I know some people see the red and it's not a negative thing. They don't have a bad experience. So
I
yeah.
think the problem is on we have put red as negative. It's on stop signs. It means stop. It means warning.
Yeah.
All those kind of
Absolutely.
things. And so we donate it. It's kind of like the X. A lot of people
Yes.
think it means warning, stay out.
Yes, what
I
yes.
don't believe that at all because they made X's all over our yard. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, one border of our yard, they X'd the whole border.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Oh
had X's going
wow.
down the whole border one time. And I believed it was to let the other Bigfoot know they were welcome in our yard.
Okay. Okay, so it's a good positive, friendly, welcoming thing.
Uh-huh. And
Okay.
back in the runes, it meant gift or gibo. Back in the Viking days, that X
Oh.
symbol, if you look at the runes, the Viking
Uh-huh.
runes,
Yes.
so it meant gift. So
Oh,
we
okay.
just m- twisted the X here in America and made
Yeah.
it mean keep out when it used to mean gift.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep. That
You
makes
know.
sense. That makes absolute sense because they've been here for all of it, I feel. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So speaking of misunderstandings, I'm wondering, like, have you ever had communications with either the Bigfoot or the fairies? Like any messages or just things they've told you or things you've learned from them?
Yeah, I used to close my eyes when they were in my backyard a lot. I'd
The
hear the
Bigfoot
bipedal
or the
walking,
fairies?
the Bigfoot. But I've done it to both, but the Bigfoot would walk up to my porch
Mm-hmm.
and I'd hear the bipedal walking and they would just stop and stand there in front of my porch a lot of nights.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just close my eyes to see if they had a message to give me. And I would see a lot of things. Um, they would show me a lot how we were all connected and
Okay.
how everything goes in a circle and comes back and returns. And which is kind of a deep message. But
Yeah.
if you do notice, time repeats itself.
Yep. Yes, it does.
And so
Yeah.
they would give me a lot of those messages like that. But what I used the Bigfoot more was my own personal life. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people would ask them things like how the galaxy would start. I never did that kind of stuff. I used them for my own personal life. Like, say, for instance, somebody I was with had some drama for the day and it bothered me. So I would go talk to the Bigfoot about that. And instantly I would get a thought that would solve it,
Yeah.
at least solve it for me so it wouldn't emotionally bother me or something. And it would be instant. And it would be something I would have never thought of before. So I knew it was coming from the Bigfoot, not me, because I would have never thought of that. But it was always an instant response. And so that's how I knew it was coming from them and not me, you
Yeah.
know. And yes, I do the same with the Fae. Every spring, I usually go to that um, place I was talking about too, because they have a fairy hill there.
I was going to ask you about that. You go to a fairy hill.
Yeah, one of
Oh,
my
so
friends always
cool.
wanted me to take her to the fairy hill. And I used to go there by myself to get to know them real good first. And what I found is their favorite gift is to plant live plants for them, like live flowers.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
so
Yeah.
I would plant live flowers for them. And then you would see them fly up to them and check them out,
Oh my goodness.
and then
Yes.
the little tiny white lights,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would fly up to me, and I could hold my hand out to them, and they'd fly up and stuff, and or I could bring friends, and they'd fly up to them and sit around their chair, and but that's what they like the most. And the fairies very much like to be gifted, very,
Mm-hmm.
very much.
Yeah. And I've heard it's good to be consistent with them. I've heard.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
true? Okay.
yeah. I was when I want to bring a friend and have a lot of fairy activity for them, I used to go gift 3 nights in a row.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then that would get the fairies going really good. So when I would bring somebody, they
Yeah.
would come up a lot. So
Yeah.
and we did that with the Bigfoot too with consistency. Like I showed you that nail that we got from that. We went
Yes. The
every single
treasure.
weekend, even if we didn't feel like driving out there and we weren't in the mood. We at least went, put down the gift, and left.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. How
so
did you know it was a fairy hill? Can I ask you, are there
how did I know?
are there
That's a good
signs that
question.
they're around? Like you can
Yeah,
tell
I
if
must have seen them there one night.
okay. Okay.
And I was probably sitting there for a Bigfoot encounter, and the fairies came up. The
Yeah.
first time I went down that trail, there were tons of fairies everywhere. Um, I was walking with like 5 people down the trail. It was that first camp out, and there were lights all over the hill to the right of us. The one that the Bigfoot came down the hill of
Uh-huh.
this spring. It was just lights everywhere, and I kept saying, "What are all these lights, everyone?" Because I knew they were fairies from my backyard, and I just didn't know if everybody else could see them or not because nobody was talking about them. But they were everywhere, and it was full of fairies. So I've always known that trail had fairies. Oh, and then one time, I remember this is probably what did it. My husband and I were walking down that trail by ourselves, trying to have a Bigfoot encounter, and this big light starts coming down that hill that I keep talking about, and it went inside a hole of a tree, and it
Yes.
met up
Yes.
with another fairy, and the other fairy turned its light on,
Uh-huh.
and then the other fairy came out of the hole, and it flew right over my head. And because it had its light on and it was so close, we could see it had wings, you know,
Yeah.
And my husband saw it real good too. So and it was right there at that hill. So that's how we knew and figured it was a fairy hill. And then I
Awesome.
just kept coming back. And there's a place I go in the spring to celebrate Beltane. And I just found out they have a fairy hill too. So
That doesn't
I've had,
surprise me at all. Of course, you're drawn there. I love that you go there every
I've
spring.
had fairy encounters already there. And last time I went, they said the fairies are being real mischievous, Ginger. Can you sit out a gift for them? And I did happen to have some gifts, as people get to know I work with the Fae. So I set out some gifts for them. And it was the first Beltane they didn't mess with me. Oh my God. The Beltane before,
Uh-huh.
I was drumming and stuff with everybody, and all of a sudden I couldn't find my phone. So now everybody's getting up looking for my phone, which is totally embarrassing. And
Yeah.
and on the way out of the house, somebody says maybe the fairies took it. And so we get in the back of my friend's car, and my husband and I had emptied my backpack 6 times. And we put I said, fairies, give me my phone back now. And I stuck my hand in my backpack, and there it was right on the top. And
I love it.
right before that, we'd had a big, huge fairy encounter. Um, we it was a horrible night. We got to the place for Beltane to camp, and we were putting up our tents, and a storm came in,
Oh
and
God.
it raged. We all had to get in our cars. My tent flooded, so we couldn't even
Oh
use
my
it.
gosh.
And we're like, "What the heck are we gonna do?"
Mhm.
So. One of the guys had to pee, and he got up and walked down the trail to pee. And when he did, he saw a yurt. So
Oh.
when we all got out of our cars and ran for the yurt, and
Uh-huh.
nobody was using it. It was a big, nice, beautiful yurt. So we got all the stuff out of our cars. We thought, well, we'll just stay here for the night. And it happened to have a stove. We could make a fire in to warm up. I know. And so
Beautiful.
we're good. We're good now. We're in a yurt. It saved the day. And all of a sudden, all these lights started appearing all around the yurt. And you could tell they weren't fireflies because it was too early for fireflies, for one thing. And this guy one of the guys that was with us, he didn't believe in fairies or Bigfoot or anything, and he had been a hunter in the woods for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
this was his first experience being in a spiritual setting. And he was freaked out. He started backing up, going back into the yurt because he didn't know what they were, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
And there were
that
fairies. I've got a really good video of it on my TikTok page of them blinking at all around the yurt. But
yes.
there were
Yeah.
tons of them. And so then the next night they stole my phone. Now get this. We come home from the camp out from Beltane, and we're setting up the tent so we can get the water out and everything. And what's in my front flower bed? A staghorn mushroom, which is what the fairies are associated with.
Oh
I've
my
never seen a
goodness.
staghorn mushroom ever in my life or in my yard. And there was one
Uh-huh.
right there in my front flower bed when we got back.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, it's them, it's their calling card. Like, yeah, we were hanging out with you. Oh, that's amazing. And I don't think the yurt is a coincidence either. They set that all up to make sure you guys
Oh,
would be
yeah.
okay.
Right. And get this, somebody had reserved the yurt for that camp out, but they didn't show up. So we got to keep it the whole camp out.
Oh, awesome. So you didn't have to deal with your wet tent and all that mess.
No, we just stayed in the yurt the
Oh,
rest of the camp
awesome.
out.
I love
That
that.
was
Like you
awesome.
just know you're looked out for. It's just so
Yeah.
I love it when stuff just works out and flows. I love that. So you've seen fairies. Like, do you always see them as like the little lights, or have you seen like them in like almost a small human form with like features and stuff?
When I was young, I used to see them in the daylight,
Hmm.
um, right, with the more where I could see their wings and their bodies. And um, I saw one that maybe was about 3 feet tall, and I don't know if it was a leprechaun or something else or what, but it was an all green.
Oh,
And
cool.
there was this tree. I used to ride my bike because we lived out in the woods in Florida, and I used to ride my bike all in the trails that the guys and boys made, back in the woods.
Yep,
And
yep.
I came across this tree one time. I was tired. I just sat down to rest in the grass, and I was looking at the tree, and I started seeing these little things fly around it.
Yeah.
And I just knew from being a kid there were fairies from the fairy tales. And there was a big hole in the tree, and I saw this figure about 3 feet go running in it, and he had a green hat on and a green outfit. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, I kept coming back and riding to that tree and sit in front of it. And I have the memory so good because I went home and made a drawing of it, and I still have the drawing from when I was a little kid. And I
Awesome.
drew the tree with the hole in it
Mm-hmm.
and the fairies and stuff on it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I used to see them in a bodily form in the daylight in the wings when I lived in Florida. Here I've just been seeing them with my own eyes as lights. I've seen them in some photos I've taken in my flower bed, so it looks like it's little fairies in photos.
Yeah.
But with my own eyes, I've just been mainly seeing lights. Now at Hootie's place, that other place I told you I discovered, I did see either a little person or a fairy run by. It was in a little outfit and it
Mm-hmm.
went scurrying up a tree and then I couldn't see it anymore.
Yeah. Do you think they're drawn to specific trees? Like, would you say it's pretty much a dead giveaway if a tree has a hole like that, that it's a fairy tree or?
I've always thought of the holes being fairy trees just because every time I have a fairy encounter around trees, they're coming out of a hole in a tree. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, so I
Yeah.
would think it'd be more than one tree if it is a certain kind of tree. They are known to like certain kind of trees better, but of course they do. We like certain kind of trees better.
Yeah. I've heard hawthorn trees. Have you heard
Yes,
that?
yes, yes. And we
Yes.
do
Do
have a
not cut
hawthorn
down a
tree in our
hawthorn
yard.
tree, apparently, because they don't like it if you cut down their trees. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a hawthorn tree too.
Yeah.
And
I've heard a lot of thorny trees are fairy trees. I don't know if you've heard that.
that's the ones where I've seen pictures of the fairies is underneath my thorny hawthorn and thorny pear trees. And
Oh,
I have a flower bed underneath there I designate to the fairies with quartz rocks all in it,
uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
I designate. And I've gotten pictures of like little tiny fairy orbs around it
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now I've heard regarding like the Sasquatch or Bigfoot, I've heard there's different sizes of Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Fairies.
I've heard there are some that
Yeah.
are short, like Ewoks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've
Yeah.
heard there are different sizes too. Um,
Okay.
I imagine there is because just like us, the different cultures and the different colors, we can sometimes have different physical structures.
Yeah.
Say
Absolutely.
um somebody who lives on top of a mountain or something would maybe be paler skin than somebody who lives in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
I you know,
Yeah.
Depending on where you live and from where your tribe was from in this world, then
Yeah.
I imagine they all form different looks to them.
Yeah. They're peoples just like us.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Have you ever seen any Bigfoot like features like that you could describe to us, their hair color, their facial features?
Yeah, I saw a huge one time in the daylight sitting on a big boulder in my neighbor's yard. He was a gray one, and
Okay.
he was huge. I mean, he was absolutely huge. He must have been like a 12-foot Bigfoot or something.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was humongous. And he was holding himself in the same shape of the rock. So if you
Okay.
just looked at it at a slight glance, you would have just thought the rock was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in my neighbor's yard, I knew what the size of the rock normally was. And when I turned and looked at the rock, I thought, boy, that rock looks a lot bigger, you know. And it was it's a big boulder. And
Yeah.
and then as I kept looking at it, I thought, oh, and then I could see it was a Bigfoot on top of it. But I wondered at the time if it was changing its color to blend in with the rock, because it sure blended in.
Yeah. Yes, you wonder, is it always gray? I'm sure
Yeah.
they have the ability to do that, do you think, to change color?
Yeah, I think so. And I think they can change to different colors to blend in. Because like the ones that were in my backyard were black often. That's why I was surprised to see a gray one. And I thought I saw a white one before too. It went by in the dark and it just seemed like a bright white,
Yeah.
you know? So I do wonder if they can change their color. I mean, if they can change the eye shine color, I'm sure they can throw off an image. Maybe it's like a glamour thing, how we can make people see what they want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you if something like that happened to me.
Yeah.
Um, I was in my back, sitting on my screen porch one night, and I was looking in my backyard, and I saw what looked like me on a tree.
What? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
and not
Whoa.
joking.
Yeah, I
And
believe you. That's
yeah, and
trippy.
I thought, okay, is that tree wet? Because I don't just believe everything I see, I question
Yeah.
things. And I thought maybe that tree's wet and it's reflecting me, like a mirror.
Yeah.
And so I thought, how is that possible? How come I've never seen my trees reflecting me before? And so I put my right arm up and it put its right arm up with me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I put my left arm up and it put it was still reflecting me. It was doing whatever I was doing. And so then I just started going like this and being crazy with my arms and it stopped and it wasn't keeping up with me anymore. And so then I could see it was not me. And
Yes.
then it looked like a Bigfoot standing there. I could just see something big and hairy standing there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, two more appeared right next to it. One shorter one. It was like I saw through the illusion,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
you know?
gosh. So
Yeah.
they can reflect, they can make us see what they want us to see.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of like how
Mm.
excuse me, it's kind of like how people will see an animal or something, they think it's a Bigfoot. I wonder if it's reflecting what they want us to see, you know?
Yeah. That was my one question I have for you. You just reminded me. So you've had experience with animals that, like, the last show we talked about a possum that wasn't.
Yes.
But have there been any other situations where you've had encounters with animals that you felt were not really what they appeared to be?
Oh yeah. There's this one, I've got recordings of it. And every time we went down that trail that I keep talking about in the last 2 years or so, we'd hear this really weird sound. And I couldn't figure out what it is. I tried to walk up the hill one night to get to it. And no matter what we do, we never scare it away, which makes me think it's not an animal. And I mean, I've got a couple videos of it where, because I be with my friend Liz and Paul, and while here we're like, what the heck is that? And the weird thing is, we come back, 3 months later, and it was still there, making that, sound. And it's like, okay, now why would the same animal be in the exact same place 3 months later?
Yeah.
And then I'd come back again a month later, and that same animal was in the exact same spot, screeching, making that same sound. It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And
Me
um
neither.
and um then one day I was finally looking at I heard some kind of paranormal podcast or something going on, and I heard in some kind of paranormal being that made that sound.
Oh my goodness.
I don't remember
Yeah.
what it was, but I remember telling my friend Liz, I said, Liz, I think that because I thought all along we were dealing with something paranormal. It's
Yeah.
just not a sound I'd ever heard from the Bigfoot,
Yeah. So
and
it's something else.
it was something else. And because I mean, what animal would hang out and be there 3 months later? What animal will you not scare away ever?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It must have lived there. It was like hanging out in a tree, and maybe that was its like lookout post.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I just so and I think it was a cryptid. We were dealing with absolutely a paranormal being, and
Yeah.
I think I've came across different kinds of beings, not always known what I'm dealing with.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, have you spotted some? Have you ever spotted like a dog man, for instance, or um,
Um,
I think you might have seen the
I've
hand of a
had,
rake. We talked about that last time. Or
yeah,
the rake.
yeah, yeah. Now, I've had dog encounters. I know because I saw the prints afterwards, and I know I've been at a campsite before where somebody else spotted them, and then we saw the prints the next morning and stuff. But I haven't ever seen a dog man up close, of like
Hmm.
stood in front of him like I have a Bigfoot. You
Okay.
know,
Not yet.
but yeah, right, right, not yet. So, but like I said, sometimes when you see eye shine out there, in fact, we were wondering when we used to sit out with Sam, Paul and I, sometimes we would see eye shine in the woods that was like pinkish and stuff. It was a color I never saw from the Bigfoot. And I
Mm,
heard the dogman can have that color sometimes. So
interesting.
I do wonder if we were seeing like dogman eye shine instead.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, if you guys get together and hang out, they probably come in and they want to
Right.
hang out
They
with you
come and
guys
check you
too.
out. Right. Yeah.
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 A question just popped in my head. Do you think mermaids are real?
Um, Yes, I would have said no 5 years ago, but so far, every time I hear about these tales, because I question everything. I wouldn't even believe in fairies if I didn't have encounters myself. I didn't believe in the Bigfoot until I had an encounter with him.
Yeah.
But now I'm finding out all these tales are true. Like there's all these fairy tales about what they like and what they don't like and things they'll do, like coming out of holes in trees. And I see them coming out holes in trees. I see them doing what the fairy tales say they do. You know, the fairy tales talk about them making staghorn mushrooms. There was one in my front yard right after a fairy encounter. The fairy tales talk about them making spirals. My first counter where I knew I was dealing with a fairy, where they were making spirals in front of us. So
Yeah.
it's the fairy tales coming true. So what I think happened is everybody got together, people who saw mermaids, fairies, unicorns, or whatever, and a long time ago, and started sharing about it. And back then we had bards that told tales.
Yeah. And it's on the old
So they would,
maps, Ginger. The old maps show certain
and there
areas
were
having.
maps. And so
Yeah.
they would sing about it, and the tales would get passed on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's where our tales come from. But I keep finding them to be true. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes now
Yeah.
because of that. And I think the same with dragons.
Yeah. Oh,
I do
yeah.
believe in dragons too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
a lot of people think the fairies and dragons, the mermaids and all that, they think the only reason we can't see them right now is they're in another dimension.
Yeah.
And
I.
they don't think the fairies ever come in this dimension ever, but that's not true because me, you, others see them in this dimension. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same probably with the mermaids for people who spotted mermaids. I think they can come into our dimension sometimes. I think they're going in and out just like the Bigfoot do,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
know.
would agree. I've heard that they have little mini battles with the Navy because they don't like the sonar. Or so I've heard. I think I
I
heard that
don't doubt
from.
that at all. I've heard of
Yeah.
them having battles with people trying to take land,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and they've
Yeah.
played lots of tricks on me, so I know they're capable of that. And
Yeah. Yeah. We can't blame them. They're trying to protect the natural world.
do
Yeah.
you remember the first meditation class we had with Arla? Were you in there? I had a fairy encounter during the meditation.
I think maybe I was. Was it the first one?
Yes. I don't
Uh,
remember exactly what happened. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I went to reach for an object and it disappeared right in front of me.
Oh my.
And I just knew that was the fairies because I'm getting used to them playing tricks on me. And it was spring, and they always mess with me in the spring. And so I
Yes.
was like,
Oh my gosh, I love that. We have so much fun. I think I vaguely
yeah.
remember you saying something.
I thought you guys are going to think I'm crazy because none of you knew me yet. But
No, I didn't think you
we
were
have tons of
crazy.
activity in our house. I have a
Yeah.
friend that's getting ready to come stay here in August. She's already stayed with me for 2 years, and she would tell you that. I mean, it's just we always have activity going on in the house like that,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
stuff going
Paul and I
missing.
would have to beg the fairies and stuff for our stuff back.
And you said you have orbs that hang out around your house.
Yeah, we get lots of orbs and stuff too, right? So,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness.
We have a ton of spiritual activity. We don't know always who all's doing it, but
Yeah. Well, you have to wonder, I think some people think they have a haunting happening, but it's actually fairies or it's actually the Bigfoot.
right, right. It's
Yeah.
actually the fairies are the Bigfoot rather than a haunting. The
Yeah.
fairies would definitely make you think you have a haunting. That's for darn sure. Uh, my first shamanic class, we had a journal. My teacher's really big about journaling everything. And so I was journaling, and all of a sudden my journal went missing. I thought, oh no. So I'm telling my teacher, and I don't think she believed me. I said, a spirit of the fairies or something took it. And I looked everywhere.
Yeah.
The next week she's telling me, make sure you put that in your journal. And I said, I can't. The fairies or something took it. And so the next week she asked me again, make sure I said can't. And then right after class, like an hour after, I'm sitting in this room, and in the bedroom next to me, I hear a loud thump. And I go in there, and there's my journal sitting on the floor, right out in the open.
Why do you
Something
think
just
they
dropped it
did
out of
that?
thin air.
Do you think they wanted you to take a break from journaling or were they just messing with
I
you?
think
Like,
they
do you
were
think
just
there's a
being
reason?
mischievous fairies.
Oh my gosh.
Fairies are known for being mischievous, which is something I like
Yes.
about them. I think they're funny. But,
Yeah.
so they do a lot of mischievous things.
Yeah. Do they ever
Mm.
lead you to like healing remedies? I've heard sometimes that they share healing with people, like
Oh, I
natural
used to go
healing.
to them for healing all the time. I've gone to the Bigfoot and fairies often for healing. I just
Mm-hmm.
go in the woods and I ask them for healing, you know,
Okay. Like
and
physical?
um, or emotional, whatever I
Okay.
need. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm I've done that a lot,
Awesome.
definitely. hmm
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a gift. I mean, they're good friends. If you're a good friend to
Yeah.
them, they're
Usually
a good
when I'm
friend to
going
you.
alone, that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm usually doing some healing or something with me, with the Bigfoot and fairies, as
Yeah.
because it's about me. So
Yep.
I will go alone and have a personal time with them and talk to them in my mind, you
Yeah.
know?
hmm Yeah, I'm sure they appreciate that too. They probably love that. One question I wanted to ask you is a lot of people, as far as fairies go, a lot of people just, I mean, over decades and decades, people have reported having fairy encounters where they saw their deceased loved ones with fairies. Have you heard of this? And do you have any insights into
I've
why this
heard
might
it, but
be?
I have not seen it. But like,
Okay.
I am completely, I don't see why that could not happen.
Yeah. Any intuitions as to why they're seeing their deceased loved ones with the fairies? Maybe it's just.
Well, let me think about that. Well, maybe the deceased loved ones had a fairy connection.
hmm
And so, I mean, if I died, I'd want to go be with the fairies, you know? And,
Yeah. Yeah.
so- and or
Absolutely.
maybe they were earth angels like me and they were fairies and didn't know it. They say
Yeah.
earth angels don't know who they are.
hmm
And
Yeah.
and so maybe they were part of the fairy kingdom. That's why. And when they
Yeah.
died, they got to be part of that again.
Oh wow, yeah. I know sometimes I don't know if this happens to you, but if I see like paintings there, I go to the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, and there's this guy that does paintings, and it looks to me like the fairy realm. And he says, well, he goes in dreams. And I said, I think it's a lot more than dreams that you've been there. They're so realistic,
Yeah.
they're beautiful, with like the lights and then the deer and the big old trees, and I'm just like I just want to dive into them. I feel
They
like you would
come to
love them
me.
too.
They come to me in dreams too. I get fairy dreams too. And
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. If he's got a connection with fairies already in his dreams and stuff, either
Yeah.
he's got a past life connection maybe where he messed
hmm
with the fairies a whole bunch in another lifetime
Yeah.
and he doesn't remember it, or maybe he's an earth angel and he's a fairy himself
Yeah.
and he
Oh my
doesn't know it yet,
goodness. That's so
you know?
interesting. Well, I got told that I'm a fairy. I have fairy DNA, so maybe I'm an earth angel too. I don't know.
But yeah, maybe
You
that's why you're
just,
so interested in interviewing
yeah.
people like me that have fairy encounters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that makes sense. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm grateful to have a connection with
So
you.
if you
Yeah.
come here, we'll go to the fairy hill and we'll plant plants 3 nights in a row for the fairies
Okay.
to gift them really good so we can have a
Yes.
fairy encounter, okay?
Awesome. Yes, I plan to come. I'm serious. I want to
Yeah.
come visit. I want to come visit you guys. And one thing that's really cool that happened, I was telling Ginger, is your last episode, you told the story about the barred owl calls.
Mhm.
Very, very awesome story. You had one call into your face. And then literally, I don't know if it was that night or the next day, I'm
Uh,
walking and it turns out, and I sent her a video. There are two, what do you call them? Fledglings, I guess. Fledgling barred
yeah.
owls living in my backyard. And I see the adult and I see the two babies. They're calling all the time now. And I talked to you
Uh,
about how I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, oh my
no, I
goodness,
don't
how
think so.
cool.
And it's really rare to see a barred owl during the day or to hear one during the day. They're
Oh my
mostly
goodness.
night creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
that was my first sign to me that something was going on because you were having a daytime encounter with barred owls.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
that's
God.
just not normal.
Wow. I'll have to post the video so people can see it. Hi. I was just telling Ginger about you. Is it okay that I'm filming you? Hi. You're so pretty. I wish you well. Hi. Thank you for letting me film you. I won't, I won't linger on you. That's rude. This is right in the backyard. This is... Yeah, we just saw two of them. I guess they're siblings. That's the house. Hi. Where are you? There you are. Hello. Thank you for letting me film you. Be well. Yeah. Yeah, and there's two babies. But I think
And
I got the one.
the
Yeah.
Bigfoot are famous for making barred owl sounds. And so absolutely it could be the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They don't barred owls just don't usually hang out during the day and make barred owl calls.
Oh my goodness. So maybe it's shape shifting Bigfoot.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that
And
there's a mama and two babies hanging out.
yeah, I thought they were doing that with a rabbit in my yard too a lot because there was a trail I would lay on that the Bigfoot made just if I needed to relax and chill on the ground. And there was a rabbit and he would hop onto the trail and just sit there in the middle of the trail while I laid there, like he was guarding me.
Probably was. I've heard
And then
rabbits
it would
are
do when I
fairies.
got up, and it did it to me every time. It's like, this is so weird. And then a bird would come up and start talking to me, and I'm like, this is so weird. And
Oh my gosh, but for you it's normal. No, that was
yeah,
totally what was
yeah,
happening. Oh, that's so cool. And I've heard deer are also what psychopomps is what you call them. I'm not even sure what that
yeah.
means, but
I have a video on my TikTok page. It was a couple years ago. There was a baby deer in my neighbor's backyard. He's got a fenced-in backyard, but it's got a gap about this big, and I guess it got through the gap and it didn't know how to get back out. Well, the neighbor's pit bull or big dog, don't remember for sure, got in there through that gap too, and it was chasing the baby deer in circles, trying to get the deer. And I happened to be on my screen porch, and I hear the baby calling, like babies call. And so, like, what is that? So I start walking through my backyard of the woods, see what's going on. And I said, I think that's a baby deer. And as I got closer, and I had my phone the whole time filming, because you never know what happens in my yard. So I have
yeah.
been filming. So, um, and sure enough, I see the dog chasing a baby deer. And I thought, oh no, I don't want to see a baby deer massacred in my neighbor's yard. And so um, I see it running around, and I got the thought, use your psychic abilities, Ginger. So as soon as it got close to the hole by the fence, I went, come on, like that. And sure enough, that deer took a straight thing right through that hole and got out and ran away.
Oh my
Right
gosh.
when I said, come on. And
Oh my. I have goosebumps right now.
I do too. I got a video of it and I posted on Facebook right after it happened. And people comment and say, Ginger, that was you that
Yes.
did that. And I can't believe you got that on video. I mean, it was crazy because you hear me on the video say, come on. And then right then the deer goes through the
Oh
hole and
my
gets away.
gosh.
Yeah.
You saved that baby. Will you share that video with us so I can post it on
Excuse me,
here?
I'm adjusted. Yeah, sure. I'll save it. I got it on TikTok. I'll give it to you. It's on my
Oh, okay.
Facebook somewhere, but it's
Oh,
much easier
okay.
to find things on TikTok. There's something going on back here. I think there's a deer in someone's backyard caught. Yeah, it is. It's a deer. How are we gonna get it out? Think it got in there accidentally? Think it accidentally got back there? Here's an opening. I wonder if it can get through it. Here it comes. Oh, poor. Come on. Good, it made it. It made it. Got out. Okay, good. You stopped the dog. Oh, thank goodness that baby made it out. Me too. So,
Got you. Yes, yes. Um, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much.
mhm.
One thing I wanted to ask you before we're closing out soon. What are the loud popping sounds in the woods? What do you think those are?
The loud popping sounds.
Yeah, a lot of people say,
Those could be many different things.
yeah.
Um, Many different things. Because we heard a loud popping sound one time. Um, I screamed. I was with Sam and my husband. We were walking down a trail looking for the Bigfoot, and I saw this big flash of light in front of me, and I heard this big pow, and Sam and Paul heard it too, but because I saw the flash of light too, it scared me, and I jumped a mile high and screamed.
Yeah, I would too.
I felt like it was something moving into another dimension.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh my gosh. What a cool world we live in. And thank you so much for explaining your experiences and helping us get more clarity. I just can't thank you
You're
enough.
welcome. All I can do is explain my experiences because I don't know anything for sure. All I know is what I see and what I experience.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
helps greatly. I mean, in a court of law, that would be enough, right? To be so.
True.
Um,
So,
so before we close out, you have a TikTok. Do you mind telling
mhm.
people how they can find you on TikTok?
Sure. I think my name's under Ginger Lockwood. Let me go check so I don't give you wrong
Oh,
info. Or do
okay.
you want me to just, or I could put
Oh,
underneath the video if you want, just that you posted this. Why don't I
yeah.
just post a link to my TikTok page under this when you
Okay.
post this?
Yes,
So,
yes, I can do that. I can do that. I'll just put it, have it come up, and I'll put it in the
yeah,
show details too. Easy.
yeah. Just let me know when you post it, and I'll post a link to my TikTok page underneath this video, okay? So we
Okay.
can be helpful to people, whatever I can do to help,
Absolutely. Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, because I think people are gonna, everybody was really excited about your last episode. They wanted to see you again. So here you are. Thank you so much for coming back. And I think they'll want to follow you on your TikTok. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you
Well,
very
Jen,
much.
yes, thank you for coming back, Ginger Lockwood. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and we're grateful for you.
And blessings to everyone. Try not to have fear because, as you know, I've done a lot of things with the biggies. I mean, I've had hundreds of encounters and I've never been hurt.
Yep. And at
So
night,
just remember that.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, and I'm
yes,
alone a lot. So,
yep. So there you go. What does that tell you? All right. So thank you. All right.
bye.
Goodbye,
Love you,
everyone.
girl. See you later.
Bye.